CuriosityStream is the streaming service for people who want to know more. And now check out Curiosity's new series, Queens of Ancient Egypt. When pharaohs held the throne, their wives held the power.
We see her taking precedence over the pharaoh, an absolute mastermind.
All hail the queens.
This is unprecedented.
Watch Queens of Ancient Egypt now on CuriosityStream. With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at CuriosityStream.com.
Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
If you really like this episode, please support our podcast by going to patreon.com/truecrimewives and get lots of great extras.
Good Wife's Guide to True Crime. We discuss crimes that some may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised.
Well, hey guys, welcome back. We've been talking about the 4 children that were victims of the Oakland County Child Killer, or more likely killers, last week. And we dove into the 5 main suspects, and we also gave you an incredible interview with J. Reuben Appelman. Jay is the author of the book on the case called The Kill Jar and the executive producer of the documentary series The Children of the Snow, which both cover the Oakland County Child Killer. In J. Reuben's research into the case, he came across an island located in northern Michigan called North Fox Island. During the 70s, North Fox Island was known as a quiet retreat, a private oasis, and a camp for young boys. But was it really?
Tonight, our look into the cold case of the Oakland County Child Killer takes us on a road trip to North Fox Island in northern Michigan. Police were investigating a child pornography ring on the island back in 1977. Now, just months after 3 Oakland County children were killed and just weeks before another, Timothy King, was abducted.
The pornography operation was run by a man with ties to Metro Detroit, and police were anxious to find out if he was involved in those serial killings. Kevin Dietz joins us now with more on that. Kevin.
Yeah, one theory in the Oakland County Child Killer case is that it was part of a group of wealthy pedophiles who were trafficking in child pornography and groomed underage kids who became victims. A massive investigation led to 2 people, Frank Sheldon of Grosse Pointe, who owned much of North Fox Island, and Jerry Richards, a teacher in Port Huron who recruited young boys to fly to the island on field trips.
Francis Sheldon was born into wealth and prominence. His father was a real estate developer who built Rosedale Park and Grosse Pointe Farms, I believe.
His family was very wealthy and owned major properties in the city of Detroit. He had property on North Fox Island, and we accessed the information about him through the school teacher that was arrested by the Detective Sergeant St. Clair. He would fly friends and males that were interested in interacting to his property on North Fox Island.
Had a filming operation there and had, horrible, horrible things.
Frank Sheldon was introduced to us as Mr. Richards' uncle. This is my Uncle Frank. So, okay, well, this is Frank, and Frank owns the island and whatever, and we're, so.
I remember getting on the plane, I was so excited. Me and Mike, and there's 2 other kids. I think one was a grade above us, and one was a grade below us, if I remember correctly. And I remember landing, I remember getting our stuff, getting our cabin, and, within an hour, we were naked on the beach. That's just how it was. If you live on an island, this is how they do it, in islands. So. And there's cameras, a lot all over the place, really.
It's just because of the trust and innocence that children have, and for someone to steal that away from them, you're basically taking part of their life away, and it's not fair.
I was angry at the school because how could you hire this man and bring him into our school You know, so a lot of mixed emotions. I'm not afraid to tell the story now. Even as a grown man, you know, you got that little boy inside you that doesn't want to tell anybody. But that little boy died a long time ago.
Sheldon fled the country and was never prosecuted. Richards was prosecuted for child pornography and has since died. Investigators do not believe they are the Oakland County child killers, but they do believe the killer could be someone they victimized. You'll see how it all connects as our investigation continues.
Those interviews are so chilling, especially when he says that little boy died.
Yeah, it's so hard. This affected so many people for so many years.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Kevin. And we do need to remind you, as you mentioned, tonight at 10, our primetime special on this unsolved mystery featuring never-before-seen video and new interviews. That's tonight at 10 o'clock right here on Local 4.
Hey folks, it's time to grab your glass of wine because Fancy, Tori, and Christina are about to serve up another true crime dish. Hey folks, so you're about to hear a new co-host of ours, Tori Johnson. And Tori has been with me, Fancy, as a partner in Mad Ginger Entertainment for about 6 years. And she was started off with us when we began to do this podcast, but because of some family issues and some health issues, she hasn't been around. But you're going to go ahead and see and hear her a little bit more as we get into season 3 and beyond of The Good Wife's Guide to True Crime. So please welcome Tori to our show.
North Fox Island was purchased by a very well-connected philanthropist named Francis or Frank D. Sheldon. Very, very wealthy. He very much reminds me of Mr. Epstein, which we will cover in a little bit. So he set up this boys' camp on the island as a charity for disadvantaged boys. But that's not really what it was. Because what was really happening was a highly organized pedophile ring that preyed on young boys.
That was terrible. I mean, just absolutely the amount of kids that this affected is incredible.
Well, they targeted, and these kids. You take the ones that are disadvantaged, minorities, or just on the poorer end of the spectrum, who they're paying for them to go to this summer camp. Oh my God, they're flying them on a plane. Oh my God, this is so great. It's like a trip. It's a reward. And
right,
really,
and a lot of times it's something that those parents could never have afforded for their boys to begin with, and so they're absolutely jumping on the chance to send their boys to this camp.
Right. I mean, it's definitely paying on the impoverished, and giving, we'll take them and we'll do this and we'll give them a scholarship to it. Don't worry, it's fine, and then it be like that. It's heartbreaking. And, these poor kids, they never said anything until they were adults, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, but it's definitely, it's hard for women and girls to come forward when they are, assaulted or molested or raped, but it's even more hard. It's harder even for a guy or a boy to come forward, and it's very hard for them to admit that, publicly. They feel a lot of shame.
Oh, right. I mean, we have such a, masculine society, and
right.
When even just being homosexual, people feel that they get that stigma and the stink eye from people. But then when you have to say that, like admitting that maybe you're not man enough and to be abused, and they're boys, they're little kids, and it's not like they were participating. It's no.
Yeah, it's sad, and they just it's unbelievable, and so we're going to start to get into what happened on the island and the different people it affected, and how this ties into the Oakland County Child Killer case.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back. If you've been listening to our podcast for some time, then you've probably noticed that there's been some different changes going on. And that's because we've recently switched over to our new hosting platform using Buzzsprout. And we love it. It could not have been a smoother transition. Buzzsprout has made it super simple and gave us amazing features we weren't getting before. So if you've been thinking of hosting a podcast or you're looking for a new host, then we totally recommend giving Buzzsprout a try. Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show can be online and listed in all the major podcast directories like Apple, Spotify, Google, and even Pandora within minutes of finishing your recording. So join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. And if you follow the link in the show notes, that lets Buzzsprout know we sent you. And it helps you get a $20 Amazon gift card if you sign up for a paid plan. And it helps support our show.
In every episode, we like to serve up a special dish from the state that our crime takes place. So here's our resident Cajun Mama Ty to tell you what our true crime dish of the week is.
Hey guys, it's me, Cajun Mama Ty, and I am here with, I am telling you, the best, by far, in the world, sugar cookie recipe you will ever find in your life. This sugar cookie recipe I have used for many, many years. You can also use this recipe if you want to add different things like chocolate chips, butterscotch chips, peanut chips, anything to it. It's kind of like the base of a cookie, but I love to use it as a sugar cookie recipe. I bake a lot during the Christmas holidays, and this is my go-to recipe. So guys, I am sharing with you my secret recipe for sugar cookies. So let's head back to the Good Wives as they continue talking about the Oakland child murderers, and I'll give you the ingredients and the directions on how to bake these awesome cookies. See you back in a few minutes.
So North Fox Island was available for purchase from a widow in 1960. The United States government put a bid in for $3,500, but lost out to Frank Sheldon, who bid $20,000 for the roughly 3,000 square miles of seclusion. Now, I know, or 3,000 square miles of seclusion. I know that doesn't sound like a whole lot now, $20,000, but back then that was a lot for land. And by outbidding them like that, he was definitely, trying to procure this island. And, we're going to find out that the reason behind this is really that he needed somewhere secluded and where nobody was paying attention to take these boys and do what they did to them. And that just speaks volumes to me of how much he was willing to pay over what the United States government was willing to pay for this property. It's just crazy to me.
Right. I mean, that's $16,500 more than they were asking for.
Right.
Or bidding for. And
right.
It's clearly something's
that's like in an auction where the auctioneer is going like, 5,000, do I hear 5,500, do I have to 5,500 going once, going twice, 16,000, what, right.
I don't think you understand the concept of bidding.
Right, no, we're going in 500 increments here. You didn't need to go $16,500 more than the last person, really, really, truthfully.
But it did almost absolutely guarantee that he was going to get that island, because there's no way the government would even attempt to match or even come close to that much higher of a bid than they'd already offered.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, because they've only got a certain amount that they can go. They don't have unlimited funds. I mean, they do, but they have to budget that out specifically for specific things. So they probably had a cap on what they could spend.
Well, right. I'm sure that he took that into consideration when he made his offer as well.
Right.
Well, no, it's up in the northern part of Michigan and the lake, so it's not something special that the government absolutely needs.
Right, which makes me wonder what the government was wanting it for, but that's interesting to me. But shortly after purchasing the island, Sheldon hired a company to come in and cut down trees, clear away stumps, level ground, lay gravel, and build an airway strip. So when the land had been cleared enough, Sheldon built cabins. So he built a landing strip. Like, wow. Where else have we heard something about this? Could it be like the Epstein flight logs? You know, like who's flying into this island? Like, wow, just wow.
And the excuse he used was that it took too many hours to get there by boat, and he could get there in 20 minutes by plane. So it was just making it more convenient for him and his guests. So he actually invited people from the company that he'd hired to come in and clear out the land. He invited them and their families to come in and just enjoy the land that they had just cleared. So he put, he used the cabins for, just everybody to come and enjoy, to really cover up what he was building it all for. He really, really made an effort to create this image for the entire world to see before he came in and did what he really wanted to do with that island. Because he didn't even start anything with the island until the 1970s. He spent over 10 years building the image of that island up in the for the world to see, where it was a great oasis. And the whole time, the entire time from the very beginning, he had ulterior motives.
Right.
So gross.
So sick.
So he actually came from a long lineage of wealthy, well-connected people. His great-grandfather was Russell Al Gore, a lumber baron, former Michigan governor, and the Secretary of War to President McKinley. He was a Michigan Air National Guardsman, earned a degree at Yale, had his master's in geology, which is an interesting degree. He also volunteered his time with the Big Brother program.
Oh, yeah, I bet he did.
Yeah. I want kids who are younger than this. How do I figure out which ones are the most disadvantaged and which ones are most vulnerable?
Right, exactly. Like, I mean, definitely a predator stalking his prey and deciding how he was going to run his camp so that he could, maximize the vulnerability of the children that he was bringing there, definitely. So with his history of philanthropy and his volunteer record, it came as no surprise when he founded a summer camp for underprivileged boys in 1975 called Brother Paul's Summer Camp for Boys, or also known as Brother Paul's Nature Camp. The mission statement for the camp was a promise to provide remedial tutoring, counseling, temporary lodging, boarding retreats, and emergency care for runaways. Oh,
I don't even know what that means. Like, emergency care for runaways? Like, what? They're on an island. What do you mean? That you're going to drop the kid off at the island and then so they can't run away because they're in the middle of a lake?
I think what that means is he was saying that if you want to, there are kids that are in bad situations. Not that his situation was any better by any means, but there are.
No, but he's taking advantage of that for sure.
Exactly. He was taking advantage of the fact that there are so many kids out there in bad situations that the only way for them to get out is to run away. And he was telling them, hey, if you're in a bad situation and the only way to get out of that is to run away, I have a safe haven for you. So much for a safe haven, though, right?
Right. Like, it reminds me of, like, Tori, you probably are old enough to remember that we used to put the signs in the windows to let children know that this was a safe house, that you could come there if something were happening, if you were being followed, or do you remember that? Like, those little signs?
I kind of remember something like that, but I don't remember too many details of it. But I do kind of remember something like that. And I think he was doing something along those lines.
Right. Like, when I remember, I was young when it happened, but I believe it was something to do with like the neighborhood watch programs that everybody has. But what they would do is, if along the lines of where the kids were walking home from school or going to a park or whatever, and they would walk around the neighborhoods, the neighborhood people would put signs in their windows to let them know, hey, this is a safe place. But I always thought to myself, but how do we know that's a safe place? Like, how do you know? I guarantee you some of those people that put those signs up were not safe places for those kids. But that was the idea behind it. And so, this guy is going even a step further and exploiting it even further of like, oh, hey, you want to run away with me. It's okay. Like, and I can't even believe that that was how he even like went about like telling people about it, because isn't it illegal for you to like do that with a runaway? I mean, this is a minor.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Maybe laws were a little bit different back then. I mean, again, we're talking about the 70s and teenagers ran away all the time. So maybe it was like kind of like there were boys reform schools.
Introducing the Soul Collection by Brilliant Earth, the global leader in ethically sourced fine jewelry. From pave rings to star-studded bracelets, each piece made with recycled gold or silver and beyond conflict-free diamonds, embodies Brilliant Earth's commitment to design, craftsmanship, quality, sustainability, and transparency. Drawing inspiration from the warmth and energy of the sun, Soul is more than jewelry. It's an expression of your personality. The Soul Collection, exclusively at Brilliant Earth. Be light, be you.
When I was diagnosed with cancer, it felt like my whole world came tumbling down.
Patient Advocate Foundation is here for you, providing free one-on-one practical support to patients with a cancer diagnosis. Call us at 800-532-5274. Patient Advocate Foundation can assist in navigating disability benefits and health insurance options. PAF also helps in accessing vital services, medications, and financial resources for both medical and household expenses. Visit patientadvocate.org or call 800-532-5274.
So one that reminded me of this case was the Florida School for Boys. It's the Arthur G. Dozier School for Boys.
Mm-hmm.
And it was essentially almost like a prison work camp, but they actually like had the same thing where allegations of abuse and violence and even a couple murders that happened.
Yeah, no, we had that. Okay, so my grandparents lived in this very, very upscale, nice neighborhood in California in Riverside. And if anybody from Riverside is listening, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There was, at the end of that street, was this huge castle. I mean, gorgeous. It was stunning and it was beautiful. But it went down into a ravine. You know, there was this huge ravine that ran behind my grandparents' backyard, and it was a wayward place for troubled teen boys as well. And they hosted pancake dinners or pancake breakfasts and different dinners and things for that. They were supposed to help these teens. But recently, I mean, just within I think it's the last 10 years or something, because I've been gone for a while, so I don't know the exact time frame, but I found out that it had been shut down. Same allegations that they were abusing the children, that there was all kinds of different things that was happening to these kids in this private organization that was supposed to be there to help these children. So crazy.
It's preying on the disadvantaged, the vulnerable, people. They know that boys are less likely to tell because they feel that shame and stigma. And I mean, the hard thing for me is that it was an island. So these boys didn't have a place to escape.
Right.
The only way off was plane or boat. So once they were there, they were stuck.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So Gerald Jerry Richards was a known associate of Sheldon's, and he was an aspiring politician, having run for county commissioner. He was a masseuse, a magician, and a Catholic school gym teacher. Oh my God, could he get any more like stereotypical pedophile? Like this is all the things. He checks all the boxes.
Even being a school teacher, there are former students of his that say that it made no sense to them, even as kids, that he was a gym teacher because he had the physical build of like Ichabod Crane.
Oh, weird. Well, it's so disturbing, like a Catholic school gym teacher. Well, unfortunately, we know what happened and still unfortunately happens. And then, but magician, okay, so children's birthday parties.
Masseuse, let me get you in here on my table. Like, oh my God, it just screams pedophile.
Right. So cruel.
And I'm so sorry if there are magicians or masseuses or even Catholic school gym teachers out there that are not pedophiles, but all of them in one thing definitely checks all the damn boxes. Like check.
He even had on the side of his personal vehicle, he had Jerry the Magician painted on. So he was like advertising that everywhere he went.
God, and it just makes me think of Gacy, like, oh my God. Like,
yes.
like, Gross. Anyway, he formed close relationships with several young boys through teaching and performing. So he was even using those things, to definitely come and get the boys interested in coming to this camp. Just sick.
Right.
Sick and twisted.
There are former victims from the island that have spoken up and said that anytime they started to get kind of a weird vibe and pull away before they were actually abused, that was one of the ways that Mr. Richards, their gym teacher, helped to ease their anxiety, is he would do magic tricks, and then they think, oh, he's just an odd guy, and he's just okay. I'm drawn in by this magic trick now, and I'm so distracted that I've eased, the anxiety's eased away, and so he would use that to just kind of distract the boys so that they didn't even see what was coming.
God, how disgusting. Jeez. So we're going to tell you how this all connects to the Oakland County Child Killers right after these commercial breaks.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back.
What if you could be a true crime detective right from the comfort of your own home? Dispatch is an interactive serial mystery that unfolds over several months. Imagine the experience of an escape room in your own home, a new kind of escape called Dispatch. It's a subscription box that's a step apart from everyday entertainment. Better than a book, more engaging than television, think of it as an immersive mystery where you wear the detective hat. The story begins with your first delivery, or dispatch, if you will. In it, you'll find physical clues that lead you to the web and back to the real world to unravel a mysterious crime. Grab a friend, the whole family, and your thinking cap, and get ready to put your heads together for one mind-bending ride, as additional details are revealed with every package. Head over to our Instagram at www.instagram.com/truecrimewives and click on the link in our bio, then choose the dispatch button to start your own true crime adventure today.
Hey guys, it's me, Cajun Mama Ty, and I'm back with my recipe for that, wonderful, delicious sugar cookie recipe. So it's the best in the world. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start giving you the ingredients. So we're going to have softened butter, vegetable oil, white sugar, confectioner's sugar, eggs, vanilla, all-purpose flour, baking soda, and cream of tartar. So the directions are as follows. You want to make sure that you get your cookie sheets and get your cookie sheets greased. And put your oven on 375 to preheat, to make sure that the oven is preheated well before you put your cookies in to bake, because you don't want them to bake too fast. In a large mixing bowl, you want to mix, in your butter, your oil, your sugars, and you want to mix that together until it's smooth. You want to beat in your eggs one at a time, stir in the vanilla. Then once you have that mixed together and it's really fine and creamy, you're going to go ahead and you're going to mix your flour, your baking soda, and your cream of tartar. You're going to mix everything together, and then you drop spoonful, you take teaspoon and you drop a teaspoonful on each cookie sheet, and you make circles across, and you can flatten them. You don't want them to be too thick. And then you're going to bake it between 8 to 10 minutes, depending on how you like them. If you want them to be like a golden brown, a light brown, take them out and put them to cool. Then on top, you can add just a really fine sugar on top, or some decorations like little sprinkles or anything when they're hot, and let them cool. And that's it. It's a very easy recipe. It's easy and quick, and that's my recipe, and it's the best recipe in the world. It's delicious. You can also add any chips. You can add any flavoring, whatever you want to do to it. If you wanted to make any type of lemon cookie or a peanut butter cookie, you can use this as a base and add your different ingredients that you want to as well. So let's head back to the Good Wives as they continue on with the Oakland County child murders, and we'll be back. Make sure that if you have any suggestions on a recipe that you'd like to hear on the podcast, please email me at Cajun Mama Ty, and that's CajunMammaTie@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks.
Ty, another great recipe. For the full recipe that was shared tonight, join us at our exclusive membership club at www.patreon.com/truecrimewives.
So Sheldon and Richards, they work together as friends, but they also work together to entice young boys. Generally, they were aged like 11 to 16, so kind of that age where they've started to change from young boys, but not quite adult yet. And they worked together to entice them to visit the island and the camp. They use the camp as the basis for all of the visits. Richards actually went so far as to use his position as a school teacher to go to parents and have them sign permission slips to send their sons to attend the camp. The parents were under the impression that the boys generally had earned these trips because of either good behavior or excellent academics in school. And so they, of course, had absolutely no issues with sending their boys to this camp. It was a free ride.
It's so gross. And especially, I mean, like, if you're going to, a religious school, there's usually, the trust in the people there that they're good, wholesome people and, in a religion. So it's not gross.
Well, I have to say, though, okay, and I'm not saying that anything happened, but I went to quite a few church camps, and I'm going to tell you what, church camps are not innocent in any way, shape, or form. There was a lot of shit that happened at my church camp.
It's the outward appearance of being the goody two shoes. Outward appearance.
Oh, absolutely. It's like we're singing, we're having, kumbaya sessions, and then nighttime comes along and it's like, all right, let's all be freaky.
Oh, is this gypsy? Is this gypsy?
But, using that against, and I think about the age group that we're talking about here, 11 to 16. So 11 to 16-year-old boys, that is a big transitional period for them. They are, their voices are changing, their bodies are changing, their hormones are starting. They don't know what is going on with themselves. They're very self-conscious about things, they're going through awkward growth spurts. It is a bad time for them. And I mean, it's a bad time for girls too, don't get me wrong.
That's also the time with all of that changing that they're dealing with the fact that they're aroused by things that should have no reason to arouse them, and that's embarrassing to them. And I think they preyed on that as well.
Yes.
I think that's part of why they picked that age group.
Well, and I think, because I think that they probably convinced them that what they were feeling was normal, which it is, but that it showed them that they were sexually aroused by it and they wanted to participate,
Right. I mean, it's sick. So both Tim and I, so it's not like I was an older lady or anything. I'm actually 6 months younger than Tim. But we started dating when we were 13, and, things definitely happened when we were, teenagers. And I recall that hormones for, around 13 to 16 are all sorts of over the place. And things happen, and that they're going, and as a nurse, like, they go through, those periods where they are having wet dreams. They're just aroused by anything. They're having thoughts.
The wind blows and it arouses them at that point, because they're so vulnerable and they're just now changing,
Right. And so preying on their weaknesses and be like, oh, that's normal. I can help you with that. This is normal. You see, you're interested. You like it.
Yeah, that's just disturbing. So, and the parents, these poor parents, they think that they're, sitting their kids with a trusted adult, the school gym teacher. So they're like, oh, okay, a trusted adult. However, I don't know.
I wouldn't do it.
Not a gym teacher. I don't know. It's like, I'm sorry. I know it's kind of crazy, but I know a lot of gym teachers, and every single one of them has been off in some way. It's very weird. I have a couple that I love dearly that I was very close with, but the rest of them all seem super strange. Like, I don't know what it was about it. Like, but a gym teacher. So they think they're trusting this gym teacher to go. And they also knew that the camp wasn't something that they could afford on their own. So they're jumping at a free trip for these kids to give them something that they could never give them themselves. It's just,
think about the name of the camp, Brother. It's brother, like you think brother and sister, and that's somebody that you're going to feel connected and safe to.
It's religious too,
Right. So when he named it Brother Paul's, that's trying to instill yet another way that no, this is a safe place. I mean, look at the name. Who wouldn't feel comforted by Brother Paul's camp, or Sister Mary?
Where is he getting Brother Paul? I guess from the Bible, the Paul, the apostle, of course. But it's just, wow. That's just gross. Anyway, this is even creepy. So now we're going to get into the really gross, nasty stuff about this. So the boys were told on the island that they had to be naked, that was just the way things were done. And even the adults stripped down with them. Well, yeah, the adults stripped down with them. Duh.
Oh my God, that's
right.
so.
The boys were told actually that if you want to stay here, if you don't want us to send you home, and this was within the first hour of them getting to the island and getting off the airplane, they were told, here's the deal. This is what we do here. We strip down. If you're going to be on the island, you have to be naked. If you don't want to do that, we can take you home. And so the boys had only been there, less than an hour. They're thinking, I don't want to go home. I'm on this island. I can play in the sand and dig in the dirt and climb trees. No way I'm going home. I might have chores.
Right. And they don't want their parents to be disappointed. And how come you're back here? Why weren't you listening? What, why? You free trip, your education,
Right. So these boys are over a barrel. So 2 boys from one of the weeks are now speaking out. Both of them have stated that they recall seeing cameras everywhere, including in the wooded areas. There were about 300 sponsors who donated to this boys' camp. In exchange for their tax-deductible contributions, these sponsors received photographs and access to video surveillance from the island. If they were particularly wealthy or well-connected individuals, they were given the opportunity to visit the island to abuse the boys themselves. This is disgusting.
Well, it's very similar to what we know about Epstein.
Yes, yep. And it keeps seeming like if you have the money, you just get to be disgusting.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
It's kind of a vicious cycle that, the wealthier you are, the dirtier your secrets tend to be. But at the same time, the less morals you have, the more you are willing to do things to earn that money to be wealthy to begin with. So it's almost like this vicious cycle of course that, you think to yourself, how is it that all these wealthy people, even Epstein's book, his logbooks, how is it all these wealthy, famous people have this perverse, attraction to these kinds of things? But then you have to think, who did they step on? Who are they willing to step over, step on, crush to get where they are? So obviously they had no scruples to do that to begin with,
Right. Well, when Bill Cosby, when it came out about Bill Cosby, dude, I was crushed. When it came out about Michael Jackson, I was like,
I knew that.
Called
that
it,
makes
right?
sense.
Yeah.
Called it.
And
That's
again,
a little
Michael
weird.
Jackson had his own, not island, but he had
Neverland.
He had his own little
his own
place.
utopia, right? His own play place, like a mini Disneyland, And I think about it, it's so funny. Cat Williams is this comedian. I think he's hilarious. He does a whole thing about Michael Jackson, and he's like, what would a pedophile have if they wanted children to come over? And he's talking about how, if he wanted to attract women, he has things in his apartment that he puts, when he's wanting a woman to come over and everything, or he thinks she's going to come back to his apartment, he'll put silk pillowcases on. He's like, I don't like silk pillowcases, but bitches do, right? So he's like, so what would I do? What would a man trying to attract children to come and be with him have? Monkeys, a roller coaster, cotton candy, like what the hell exactly what you would think. And it's the same thing with this island.
Well, it's so gross. So I watched that really deep, dark documentary about Finding Neverland.
Yes.
And it was so, disturbing that it's the same thing. The parents thought they could trust the person in power, that they're a good person, they want to help. That, right. Oh my God, my kid is so special. He's taking a special interest in them. Oh my gosh. Yes. And go spend the night at Michael's.
That was even more upsetting to me, because not only did he prey on children, but he preyed on usually sick children, children that had some sort of, disability or something that was going on with them that made them very, very, very vulnerable. But it just makes me so mad. But going back to, this again. So one of the subscribers to the videos was known.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Was a known OCCK suspect, so Christopher Bush. He was a convicted sex offender who had become a looming figure in many theories about the OCCK killings. And Bush had connections. He was the youngest son of H. Lee Bush, whose obituary lists him as having worked as the executive financial director of General Motors for 4 decades in Europe and the United States. So he was a very wealthy guy, obviously. I mean, he's the General Motors financial director. That is a huge, huge position over a huge company. So, he's got a lot of money. And that's how we believe that, that Bush was able to stay out of jail. I mean, he went to jail. He got probation for molesting 4 children, while the other guy got life in prison.
Right.
It's bullshit.
It's the connections. You're in the community. We know who you are. We know who your family is. So I'm going to be a little lax with your stuff. Oh, well, you've got the money, so maybe your dad can put in, double-digit thousands of dollars into the, police budget.
Oh, maybe he's donating a bunch of cars to the police. Yeah,
Right. Like, oh, we got some new police vehicles, guys.
Right.
Like, so you have to think about what incentives that he got. And like we said, with, people who have money, the less morals you have. And so he had the ability to do that. And so it's so gross. But, there is little doubt that Bush and Sheldon knew each other. Sheldon taught at the Wayne State for a time, and Bush took classes there. And they were both part of the Big Brothers Association. Of course they were.
Of course they were. Of course they were.
That makes me not trust anybody who works in that.
No, it makes it hard. It does. As a parent, I have always been that way. Like, even sending my children over to another people's house to spend the night. It's you have to be very cautious about it. And be very vigilant in who your children are hanging out with and what they're doing and where they're going, and because the world is just so full of evil and grossness and nastiness. And I think right now in 2020 that is just being brought so far to the surface. Like, it is laid low for a long time. But somebody said the other day, and it kind of upset me, and Tori, you may have something to say about this too. Like, so, you know, everybody's talking about the monuments being torn down everywhere, and it's upsetting, and some people, you know, are for it and other people aren't. And, you know, I kind of think that maybe they should come down and be put in a museum somewhere so that we still, you know, understand the history, and you can kind of get a relevant, you know, look at it. But I don't think they have a place everywhere, you know. But someone was suggesting, based on the whole thing with what's going on in Hollywood and Epstein and everything, that we should turn on the Hollywood sign. And that was particularly upsetting to me, because here's the sign. The sign itself has done nothing, okay? That sign is just a sign that says Hollywood, and it's wonderful, and it's you can see it driving right in. I grew up knowing that sign was hope and my dreams. You know, that was the sign. I would look at it, and we would drive past it, you know, going into LA, and I would sit there and think about, I'm going to do something in here someday. So I don't think that tearing down the sign is an appropriate thing, because the sign does not represent all of those people. The sign represents the actual place and now the industry. But just because there are some people in the industry that are gross and nasty and do these horrible things, and it's very rampant, it does not mean that everybody in the industry is like that.
Well, and like, we don't know yet what each person who was on those flight logs did. Some of them probably didn't do anything, and maybe were just associates.
Well,
so,
yeah,
like,
because if you think
about
what Sheldon did in the beginning of just having people come and build this thing into a resort, right? So maybe many of those people went thinking that's what it was and didn't see anything. Maybe the weekend they went, there weren't girls there being, you know, toted all over the island.
Right, because in order to keep up that facade, he's going to have to bring in legitimate guests.
Yes.
You know, so that just because they were on the log doesn't mean that they were necessarily even complacent because of knowledge. It doesn't mean that they even knew anything that was going on. So there's some that I want to withhold judgment on all of them until we know exactly what their involvement is, because I'm sure that at least some of them were innocent in just going to an island to hang out with somebody that they were associated with.
Well, we've talked about this before in other capacities, Tori, where, you know, we talk about like criminals and scammers in particular, because Tori and I have dealt with that. We had an incident where we had a project that was already ready to go. It completely cast, scripts written, location scouted. Like, we were leaving to go to Savannah within weeks. I mean, and then we found out that the money that we had been promised was fraudulent. And it was a fraudulent investor. But the thing is the way that we ended up getting connected with them was because they had done other projects, but smaller budget projects. So a criminal, especially like a grifter, a scammer, things like that, or something like this, they are going to do things to make themselves seem legitimate, because then they can say, oh, but look, I have this over here that I've done, and I have this that it was a contribution to this, and blah, blah, blah. So then people give to them or go there or do the thing.
Who can vouch for them, that can be trusted. Oh, no, of course this is real. I mean, just ask, so-and-so, they're a good friend of mine too, and ask them about their
this is my portfolio. Like, I have all these properties all over the country and the world. Like, I have connections in the royal family. I've got connections to every political party. I've got connections to everybody in Hollywood and philanthropy and in New York and Florida, and having well connected. And so out of, say, Epstein, 100% of his people, I want to say probably only like 5% of the people knew and or participated. We don't know, but I want to say I would say it's a little more than that, but yeah, I would say it's not all. I wouldn't think that every single one of those that been on there, but it just, you have to look at who's on that list and think about things that they've said and their character and different things like that. But go ahead. Well, and so with Epstein, at least we're hearing from a lot of the victims now, and now that Maxwell is in prison, her trial starts next year. And hopefully at some point there'll be, a press release. I hope she doesn't end up dead. Like
Epstein. I think that if she did, it would be even more telling of what was happening, and so that is not going to go over well a second time. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the first drop of rain that hits you is God's fault, the second one is yours, you know, like, so I don't think she will, but I mean, it is a long time to wait for her, and it's not, it really isn't in terms of legal sense, like normal court proceedings. It's a normal amount of time. Sometimes it would take, a case like this could take even 2 or 3 more years, but they're setting it for 1 year from now, which means that they've probably got a lot of stuff already done as far as investigation, you know, and proof. But in this case, the OCC killings, both male victims were sexually assaulted. The unsuspecting boys were brought to the island, were also sexually assaulted, and this led authorities to question whether the killer or killers were linked to the island in some way. There's a lot more connections on this that Jay Rubin makes in his in the interview that we did with him. He talks a lot more about how the inner workings of this really happened. But I mean, there is so much evidence to show that these two are linked. And I truly believe there were way more than 4 children that were involved in the OCC killings too. I think it really was some sort of like really big pedophile ring that was happening. But these 4 victims just somehow, it like, the person that they were either sold to or given to or what have you, that was their MO of what they were doing with them. But I'm sure there was many more children.
It could have been something as simple as, you know, the boys that are speaking up now, the adults that are speaking up now, they were convinced to be quiet.
Yes.
But I know my son, you tell him to not say something, he's going to say, oh, watch me. Here's what I have to say. And
right.
So it could have been, you know, if they are linked, it could even be that they said, no, you're not going to silence me. I'm telling somebody.
Well, you know? yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm wondering if that, you know, the girls that were killed, they said they weren't sexually assaulted. So I'm curious on why they were taken. If it was like a crime.
From what I heard and what I've read in a couple different things is one of the girls in her picture that they show in all the, you know, all the articles, all the podcasts, all the documentaries, show her with longer hair. But within the week before she was abducted, she had actually gotten a very, very short cut that looked like a boy's haircut.
Oh, yeah.
For her. And the other girl, the way she was dressed when she was abducted, she had her hood, she had a hoodie on, I believe, that she probably had up to where it looked like she did not have long hair.
Right. So they thought she was a boy.
You can't just look at that age child and their body. Oh, that's a, you know, a man or a woman.
They're very similar in that age until the girls begin to, you know, it changes when the girls begin to develop, you know, and if you're a late bloomer, you know, then your hips and your chest and everything doesn't change until much later, then you might definitely, you know, still appear in certain circumstances like a boy. But, you know, I mean, it's just, there's so much that I think links these two together. We have a lot of people that are coming forward now that are saying, I was approached by the same people and I ran away, or this happened to me, or whatever. And so hopefully we'll be able to share those with you coming up in season 3. We originally did these three episodes, but we found so much more information digging into this that it's definitely going to be a longer conversation. So we've decided to go a little more in depth into this case coming up here in our next season, and possibly on our YouTube channel, Murder by Design, because I mean, this really definitely fits into that kind of thought process of why and how did these people decide to do this, you know, because this is sick. This is extreme. And it's not just sick, like, you know, a child predator who just grabs a kid off a street and does something to them. Okay. So this was very, very organized and depraved. So, I mean, just super disgusting.
Right. Like it's very organized. It's methodical, that they knew what they were doing. They're videotaping every angle from all over the camp, you know, taking photos. And maybe, so I guess that's something that we don't know with the girls. Did they bring them to the island thinking that they were boys, but then when they discovered they were girls, did maybe they just take photos of them for their friends, people, and then they're not interested themselves, so then just kill them because they aren't interested, but they know they can take the photos and maybe some videos and then make money off of them still.
Right. Well, and
of course that's assuming that they even made it to the island. It could have been, you know, that they were abducted and then oh, you're a girl. Okay, but you've now seen our face. You've heard our voice. You've seen our vehicle. You've seen where we brought you, to this location where we've discovered you were a girl. And so now there's no way we can let you go home.
Right. Right. Well, and we've talked a little bit about Epstein and the connections that we see in that. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next segment.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back. So you often hear and see us Good Wives sipping a glass of wine. And one of our favorite wine clubs is California Wine Club. California Wine Club only works with small wineries, and they hand select 2 bottles of wine each month and ship them straight to your door. Now you don't even have to go to the liquor store to have a sip of bubbly with us. How cool is that?
We'd like to take a second and speak to you about our first official sponsor of the Good Wives Guide to True Crime. If you've been watching our YouTube channel, then you are more than familiar with one of our experts, retired SVU detective Stephen David Lampley. Stephen is a wealth of information, and we truly love having him as a guest on our show. But in addition to his expert advice, did you know that Stephen is a teacher? We've been taking several criminal justice classes from him over the last few weeks at the Oliphant Institute. Stephen is not only a teacher there, but the founder of Oliphant Institute. His courses are for the learner who isn't really concerned with a degree, but still wants to learn more about criminal justice and true crime. Some of the classes offered are Serial Killer Profiling 101, a 5-part series on homicide and human decomposition, and he keeps adding new classes each week. Most classes are hosted on the weekend, admit no more than 50 students, and last no longer than 50 minutes. The best thing is, they only cost $20 each. So, if you're interested in fueling your inner true crime detective, then head over to www.olephantinstitute.com and sign up for Stephen's next class. Or you can click the link in our show notes.
We absolutely love hearing from our listeners, and we'd like to invite you to send us a question for us to answer or a case you'd like us to cover. You can drop us an email at goodwivesdish@gmail.com, and we might feature it in one of our next episodes and give you a shout out. Right now, we are also hosting our #LoveWins Scholarship Fund. If you're a college-age student who would like to enter, send us a 30-second video telling us about how you lead with love. Email your entry to us with a little bio about yourself and your educational goals. And if you'd like to learn more about our #LoveWins campaign for peace, merchandise, or donation details, go check out our informational video on youtube.com/murderbydesign. We look forward to hearing from you.
The Oakland County Child Killer and the Fox Island scandals have strong similarities to another case in our recent news feed today, which is financier Jeffrey Epstein, who was recently charged with and convicted of sexually abusing and trafficking minors. And his longtime, associate, girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, has now recently just been arrested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it just, I see so many connections, like we've said, the wealthiness, the island, this just is the little that book and Don't Tell. But one of the things that I think is interesting that Joseph Scott Morgan has brought up more than one time, as we've talked about this, we did a wonderful, long discussion with him over on YouTube. And it was great, all about Epstein. He's so informed on the situation. But he's talked about, where are the children? Where did they go? What did they do with these kids? Did they just drop them off somewhere? Are they dead? Were they just, recycled into sex trafficking within the United States? There's so many questions that we have about this case.
Right, because with Epstein, the victims who have come forward have said that there were hundreds of girls on that island who did not speak any English. And, if they were on that island, where did they go? Doubtful that he took them back to wherever they came from.
Right.
So that where are they? Did he kill them? Are they on his giant property in, was it Arizona?
I think
where?
it's
New Mexico?
I think it's New Mexico. I think it's New Mexico.
I think it's New Mexico. But where are the children? Where are the children?
So in this, here's the similarities. So both men had links and connections to wealthy businessmen and politicians. Both owned private islands. Both were known philanthropists and millionaires. They never stood trial for their crimes. Sheldon was actually warned of an impending arrest and fled, and he was never expedited. And then, Epstein was found deceased in his jail cell from suspected suicide, but I'm really going to think that's suicide by someone else.
Right. When we talked with Joseph Scott Morgan, we talked very in depth about how he was found, his jail cell, his autopsy. We're very in depth with him about it because he's a death investigator.
Right.
Very knowledgeable.
So, yeah, he went into great detail as to like what he saw in those crime scene photos. And however, he does give one really interesting explanation that Colleen and I were absolutely shocked by. So you should totally go over there and listen to it, because I'm not going to give it up here. I'm going to make you go listen over there, because let me tell you, you want to hear what he has to say about that.
I watched pretty much every episode of Law and Order SVU, and like everybody who listens knows I watch a lot of the darker stuff and a lot of documentaries, and so there is a big issue, obviously, with
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Minor and sexual abuse and sexual assault and sex trafficking in Europe, in the Middle East, in Russia, in other parts. I mean, obviously it's really rampant in the United States too, but specifically I believe that it was rumored that Sheldon had went to Amsterdam. And Amsterdam, known for the red light district, does have portions of minors.
Right, and they wouldn't extradite him here.
Yep.
No. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Which is what Polanski has done. Polanski did the same thing. He fled the country and has never been able to be extradited back because he won't come back, so living a high life somewhere else.
Like Maxwell, I'm honestly surprised that she came into this country. Like, what were you doing? Why?
I don't know. Maybe she really had some guilty conscience and wanted to really give it up.
I don't
know.
I don't know, man. It's, to me, this
she's
is
an odd one to me. I don't know. She's so odd, but it's difficult for any child to report sexual abuse because they feel guilty and they may have received threats from the offender. They fear they won't be believed, and they don't want to cause family problems. But for male victims, there are additional barriers to disclosure. In our culture, boys are socialized not to be victims. And that's very true. Like we touched on a little earlier, but, boys are taught, you don't cry, you're a boy, suck it up, boy, suck it up. You're the protector, you're the powerful one, you're the this, big boys don't cry, you should get in a ring and fight it out, and like all these different things. We think about how boys are taught to be in this society, and I do think that boys, being a protector role, that's fine, and different things, but I think that it is taken to a very high level that it's almost that boys should not have feelings.
Yeah, I do agree with that. There's such a culture and there's so much stigma, and I feel like it's, girls are taught, kind of that, damsel in distress, and boys be this knight in shining armor, and obviously there are stipulations to that. I mean, there are a lot of, like, I was a tomboy growing up. I rub some dirt in it, step up. And there are
I'm thankful. I'm thankful that my mother taught me to be, a strong, independent woman. And I tried to teach that to my girls, that you don't have to have a guy to be okay in this world. If you don't need it, you don't need one. It's great to have one, don't get me wrong, but to be strong and independent women, to take care of themselves, to stand up for themselves. My mother always taught me to stand up for myself. It's why I'm so outspoken in a lot of the different things that you see, when I talk about different stuff. It's one of the reasons why I don't like to discuss politics, because I get so impassionated by things. I am so super passionate about something. Now politics I didn't really get involved in, but some of the things I'm seeing now, they really upset me, and I'm really concerned about our country. But this is a culture that has been breeded into our society. This kind of, girls are the meek and the sweet and the nurturing and caring, and men are the all powerful protectors. And I think that this needs to take a turn. I don't think that we need to go as far as some of the things that people are out there saying, but I definitely do think that we need to let children know that no matter whether they're a boy or a girl, it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to have fear. It's okay to be sad.
Well, and having that, a caring personality. So my brothers are much younger than I am. I'm 14 years older than one of them. The other one's younger than that. And when my younger brother was born, they had the older one had a baby doll to take care of, so that way he knew how to be gentle with the new baby.
Yes.
And there's a lot of stigma, like, oh, well, he can't have a doll, or he can't have a Barbie. That's for girls. Like,
right. And girls can't play with Hot Wheels, and they shouldn't have army men or whatever. It's very stereotypical.
And colors, like the younger one, he loves the color pink and purple. I mean, he plays sports. He's normal kid, but like you don't have to genderize colors. Like, I
don't know when this started. Like, I don't know how that even started. Like, colors are beautiful. Colors are colors. I don't know how that started, but.
Well, even with that, it used to be many years ago that blue was the color for girls and pink was the color for boys. So I don't remember when it switched, but even that isn't what it used to be. I have a shirt for my son, and he's 2.5, and he's got gorgeous curls. Oh my gosh, his curls are absolutely gorgeous.
They are. They're stunning.
Because of that, we don't want to cut his hair, because I mean, what happens when you cut your daughter's hair when she has curls? They go away. And I love these curls. So my husband and I decided not to cut his hair. And so many times, even family members have said, "Oh, she's so cute." And I'm like, "No, he's cute."
Right. Well, we have that problem.
Shirt that says, "There's no wrong way to be a boy." He has Barbie dolls he plays with. He has a cooking set and he bakes.
Right.
And actually, we just ordered him a shirt that said, "Yes, I have long hair. Yes, I'm a boy. No, I'm not cutting my hair."
That's so
well,
cute.
I had the same problem with my girls being thought that they were little boys, because even if I had them in pink and bows and everything, they didn't have a lot of hair when they were little. They were baldies, and so when they were very tiny, people would look at them and go, "Oh, he's so cute," and I'm like, "He is in pink with little fur, that's a she. Like, how do you not know this?" But I think it just, like you said, there is no wrong way to be a boy. There's no wrong way to be a girl either. Girls can be rough and tumble. Girls can climb trees. Girls can build forts. Girls can do all kinds of different things. And I think that, it's so simple to say that about children, but then it does carry over into adult things, like thinking of what can a girl be, what can a boy be. Whenever you see a picture of kids dressed up for Halloween as nurses and doctors, what do you see? You see a doctor in a boy out, a boy in the doctor outfit and a girl in the nurse outfit. Well, you know what? I know lots of male nurses. I know lots of female doctors. And I know there was a thing that came out, was it last year or the year before, where they did like an ad that showed that, showing how, and I loved that. I thought that was amazing, so that it would give boys and girls a better definition. If you really can be anything you want to be, you really can do whatever you want to do.
And speaking from a nurse's profession, we need more male nurses, because there are a lot of people who, especially men, who feel uncomfortable having, a female be their nurse. And it really, especially when it comes to sexual assault and sexual assault in children, because yes, a lot of times all children feel comfortable telling it to a girl, but for little boys or even teenage boys or men who have been abused, having somebody of their own gender who won't judge them and they don't have to feel shame is huge.
Right.
Huge.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back. Every great podcast needs a great website. Currently, our mother company, Mad Ginger Entertainment, is building their website using Bluehost. Bluehost is one of the best and most affordable web hosting platforms available. Plans start as low as $2.95 a month, and you can even integrate it with WordPress. So if you need your own website or affordable web hosting, grab our discount link in the description and get your podcast a bigger presence online at low costs.
Hey guys, it's me, Cajun Mama Ty, and I am going to do something so wonderful today. Something that I haven't done since I was a very, very young child. I, as a child, grew up with grandparents who only spoke French. So it was very difficult to communicate with them. And they taught us many things. My grandfather was a treater, and he taught us how to say our prayers in French. He taught us how to say our numbers, our days of the week, all kinds of things in French. So as I was looking on YouTube, I saw a gentleman who was trying to teach people how to say the Our Father in Cajun French. And when I played it a couple of times, I realized I knew the prayer without even saying it. Without him even saying what the words were, I knew what the words meant. So today, guys, I am going to say to you, recite to you the Our Father in Cajun French. Mon Père et qui est aux cieux, que ton nom soit fait, que ton règne vienne, que ta volonté soit faite, sur ton terre comme au ciel. Donnez-nous aujourd'hui nos pains des hauts cieux. Pardonnons nos offenses, comme nous pardonnons aux cieux. Que nous on aux offenses. Et nous sommes pas à la tentation, mais délivrance non du mal. Amen, or the Parisian French way to say amen is on soit-il. So that is the Cajun version of the Our Father, which is, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Bonsoir, and I'll see you again soon. Let's head back to the Good Wives. And don't forget, if you want to hear something else in Cajun French, please message me. Send me an email to CajunMamaTy, all in lowercase letters, @gmail.com. Hoping to hear from you guys soon. Let's head back to the Good Wives.
So tonight we've talked a little bit about, North Fox Island and the OCC killer, wrapping up our 3-part episodes on that. Like we said, we are going to be diving deeper into this, so be on the lookout for those different things, because we are going to be talking to several of the survivors that were approached by these same people and were not taken. I'm starting to get into reaching out to a lot of the community members of what was happening at this time and what did they see and what were they thinking. And I think we may even get connected with some of the family at some point. So you're definitely going to want to keep a lookout for when we start putting some of that out. Some of the content may be on here, it may be on our YouTube channel at Murder by Design, and it also might be in our Patreon account. So that's our exclusive members club. You can join for as little as $5 a month. We also have a yearly members club over on our own website. So Patreon, you can go, it's patreon.com/truecrimewives. If you want to join for a yearly membership and save yourself a ton of money, then you can go over on to madgingerentertainment.com and go to our membership site and join there. You can also see all of our podcasts, our blogs. We've done a wonderful blog in the last week. You know, we did one on Jodi Arias. We're going to have one on Susan Morfeo coming out. Christina and Tori have been writing those, and they are amazing. They come out on Tuesdays and Thursdays over on our our madgingerentertainment.com site. They also can be featured on Medium. But also, we wanted to let you guys know, we talked about J. Reuben Appelman and his book, The Kill Jar. If you go and you order it on Amazon Kindle right now, there is a special deal. So the book is $11.99 itself, but as soon as you make the purchase, you receive a digital credit automatically for your next purchase for $8.99. So it's a great way to get two books for practically the price of one. And depending on, I love the Kindle. Tori reads on the Kindle all the time. I like Audible and I listen on Audible, but Tori reads on the Kindle and she really enjoys it because you get to take your books on the go and it's real easy and portable. So you guys should go on over there. It is an amazing book. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Colleen, I know you read it as well. What did you think?
I loved it. He's a great author. There's a lot of detail. Children of the Snow is a great documentary, and it gets you to see the people who are in it and the photos. But the book really gives you a ton more detail and how the connections between everything. So it was great. He's a great guy. We love talking to him.
Super interesting. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today and joining us. We really appreciate it, and we're enjoying having these conversations. This is the end of our Oakland County Child Murders. Next week, we're going to be starting on our Jodi Arias series. I think we're doing 2 episodes on Jodi, and then drum roll. We are doing our head-to-head on Scott Peterson. Tori is going to be our moderator for that. Me and Colleen are going to go head-to-head because I think he's guilty as sin and she thinks he's a little saint. So we're going to have a little debate on that. Tori's going to run it for us, and we're going to try and convince Christina and our viewers of which way they think we should go. Is he guilty? Is he not guilty? He's guilty. But no, seriously, we're going to have a little face-off. It'll be a couple of episodes on that, and you guys should really check it out because it's going to be a lot of fun. Colleen, you have anything you want to say about him not being guilty?
Yeah, so Scott Peterson, I'm not saying he's totally innocent, but I believe that he didn't do it. There's a lot of extenuating circumstances. There's not any physical evidence, and I think there's a lot of other suspicious circumstances surrounding that town. And even if he did do it, I do not believe there's enough evidence for him to be on death row.
I agree with that. I do agree with the fact that there is not enough evidence for him to be on death row.
And if we get to that, I will still take that as a win.
If you can convince people that he shouldn't be on death row. And
I've taken it.
Yeah, well, it's very relevant right now. He is going through the appeals process, so we'll see how that shakes out. But guys, keep coming back.
Thanks so much for tuning in and dishing true crime with the Good Wives.
Don't forget to join our Patreon member club to get the full recipe shared tonight, inside documents and pictures from the case, bonus mini podcast episodes, live YouTube discussion, and an exclusive invitation to our discussion group on Facebook, and get some amazing Good Wives merch.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at True Crime Wives. And for more inside information, check us out on YouTube at Murder by Design, where we're currently talking about a few different true crime cases, from bullying murders to serial killers. We dish it all.
Have a good one from the Good Wives, serving up true crime, one dish at a time.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details. Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.